Hi everyone, this is the first lesson recording for week 2 IM2. The first goal for today's lesson is to be able to write quadratic equations in 3 forms from graphs. So if you recall, vertex form is always written in y is a times x minus h all squared plus k, and the steps that are involved when you are writing an equation from the graph is always look for x-intercept, y-intercept or vertex, and then substitute whatever information that is easily found into those values for the correct letters, and then choose another point, x and y point, not used to substitute for x and y, to find the value for a, and solve for a, and then rewrite the equation including the a value. So if you recall the vertex form, looking at this, you can straight away see the vertex is 3, negative 2. So we know that h is 3, k is negative 2. Now we can quickly substitute that in to the vertex form equation. And then we need to choose yet another point. You have a choice between 2, 0, 4, 0, or 0, 16. You can choose any of them. This time I chose 2, 0. So 2 is the x value and 0 is the y value. So substituting those into the equation, and you are left, and then simplifying that, you're left with a times negative 1 all squared plus negative 2 is equal to 0. Then simplifying that further, negative 1 squared is 1 times a minus 2 is a minus 2 is equal to 0, so therefore a is 2. And now that we found a, now we substitute that back into the equation we had before with the a value, and you finally have y is 2 times x minus 3 all squared minus 2. Now let's consider if the equation was, we want to find the equation in intercept form. Now we've done this before, but just to refresh your memory, we know that the x-intercept, the first x-intercept is 2, and another x-intercept is 4. So we have 2 and 4, substituting that into the equation. And then now you can choose either 3, negative 2 or 0, negative 16, the 2 points that you did not use. Well, I'm going to choose, let's see, I'm going to choose 0, 16 just because it's easy. So 16 is the y value and 0 is the x value. Substituting that in, you are left with negative 2 times negative 4 times a is equal to 16, and 8a is 16, and then from there, dividing both sides by 8, you are left with a is 2. Then you plug that back into the original equation, and you are left with y is 2 times x minus 2, x minus 4. Now because we got the two equations, this equation and this equation from the original graph, they are actually the same equation, just in different form. Now let's try the standard form. Okay, standard form is y is ax squared plus bx plus c, and c is 16, so we can plug that back into the equation, and you can choose any of the other points, 2, 0, 4, 0 or 3, negative 2. I chose 2, 0, and you have this equation, and which simplifies to 4a plus 2b is plus 16 is equal to 0. Now we have two variables that we need to solve. That means in order to solve this equation, we need at least another equation, and then we can solve it with system of equation, but that's kind of a lot of work. So this probably would not be the best way to write your equation in standard form. From the graph, it will be far easier to put it in intercept form if there is a clear intercept, or vertex form if the vertex is visible. Okay, so then let's watch it happen again. A different graph this time. Okay, vertex is 1, negative 36, so h is 1, k is negative 36. So plugging that into the equation, And now you can choose any other points that are on the graph. So we can use the y-intercept or two of the zeros. I am using -5, 0. -5 is the x value and 0 is the y value. And that simplifies to -5 minus 1 is -6. And -6 all squared is 36 times a minus 36. So 36 is equal to 36a, divide both sides by 36, a is 1. So plugging that into the equation, y is 1 times x minus 1 all squared minus 36 in vertex form. If we were to do it in intercept form, we know that the intercept is -5 and 7. So notice that there is a negative sign inherent to the intercept form. So m is -5, n is 7. Plugging that into the equation, now we need to choose one other point to find the value of a. I am choosing 0, -35. So 0 for x, -35 for y, and which simplifies to a times 5 times -7 is equal to -35. And -35, a is equal to -35, therefore a is 1. Plugging that back into the equation, y is 1 times x minus 2, x minus 4. Here we go. Okay, so this time I would like you to try. You have a new graph here. I would like you to find the equation in vertex form and intercept form. Please pause the video now and try this for yourself. Here are the answers if you had the chance to do it. If you need to pause the video to look at the work, you should do that. Okay, how about from the table of points? Okay, so if you're trying to find it in vertex form, looking at this, from the table, we need to pick out the key information. What do we know? What are key points that we can use? Well, if a point has y coordinate of 0, then we know this is the x-intercept. This is 1, 0 is also a x-intercept. Now 0, -10, with the x being 0, that's the y-intercept. Now vertex, how do we find vertex? Well, we're going to use the fact that parabolas are symmetrical. So let's start matching up the points, y values. 0, 0, -10, -10, -16, -16. So this is the central point. So this is the vertex. So we have x-intercept, vertex, y-intercept, and x-intercept again. So now that we found those, vertex is -2, -18. From there, we substitute that back into the equation. Now, because h is -2, it's going to be x minus -2. Don't lose that negative sign, please. Then you choose any other point. You can choose x-intercept or y-intercept or the other x-intercept. I believe I chose 0, -10. 0, -10, that's the y-intercept. So which then simplifies to a times 2 squared. And I brought -18 to the other side by adding 18 to both sides and got 8. 4a is equal to a, so a is 2. Substituting back into equation, y is 2 times x plus 2 all squared minus 18. Intercept form, we know 2 in intercept, -5 and 1. So m is -5, n is 1. Substitute that into the equation. Again, make sure you do not lose the negative sign here. And then you can choose any other points that are not used. So I chose 0, -10 again, the y-intercept, and simplify the equation, and you get -5a is -10. So a is 2, and again, substituting that into the original equation, y is 2 times x plus 5, x minus 1. Great! I hope you're getting this. And now this time it's your turn to try. You have a table of data. please find the equation in vertex form and intercept form. Please pause the video now and do these problems now. The answer will be shown in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so you have those 3 points, x-intercept, vertex, and x-intercept again. We're not given the y-intercept because we don't have any values where x is equal to 0 from this table of data. So h is -2, k is -12.5. Then substitute that into the original equation. And then you can choose any other point. You can choose either of the x-intercept or any other point for that matter. This time I chose 1, -8. 1, -8. This was another point. That simplifies to 4.5 is equal to 8 times 3 squared. And so 4.5 is 9a. Divide both sides by 9, and a is 0.5. Substitute that into the original equation. This is the equation you should have. Okay, if I was to look for intercept form, intercepts are -7 and 3. So -7 and 3 are m and n value. Substitute those into the equation, and then you choose any other point. I believe I chose 1, -8 again. Substitute those values in, and you are left with -16a is equal to -8. Divide both sides by -16. A is 0.5, and therefore y is 0.5 times x plus 7, x minus 3. Notice that the a value, regardless of what form you're in, vertex form, intercept form, and even in standard form, that's always going to be the same. And you might think, it doesn't seem like a very important number. Yes, it is a very important number because it shows you the stretch factor. It tells you how fat or skinny or what direction is it opening up or opening down. So it is a very important number that you should not neglect. Great. I am going to stop the video right now.